Hi, Reality Riffing. I got to sit down with a dear friend and an incredible artist, Maejor, and we had a really deep conversation about soundscapes, about the power of sound, and also some of the kind of maybe lesser known things around the scale, the actual Hertz scale, and what happened post World War II. Fascinating little tidbit in terms of how sound affects consciousness and how it's used to positively affect consciousness and affect thoughts and affect behavior, and also negatively. Maejor has set out on an incredible journey to create pop music and kind of multi-genre music, both his own music and produce other people's music that holds a certain Hertz frequency that is the frequency of love. We break it down, we talk about it, we rap, we riff. This is a really fun conversation with a deep and profound artist, Maejor.
A doing word, fearless on my breath, gentle impulsation wakes makes me lighter, fearless on my breath, teardrop on the fire, fearless on my breath, teardrop on the fire, fearless on my breath. Night of matter, blue flowers blossom, fearless on my breath. Blue flowers blossom, fearless on my breath. Teardrop on the fire, fearless on my breath.
So excited to be here. Long awaited. We're here on the solstice, really at the kind of apex of this conjunction, and I get to hang out with my friend Maejor, who is doing major things in the world.
Wow,
And,
thank you.
Thank you for coming over, and just it's so nice to be in person and talk to someone. It's
Crazy, right?
Nice?
Yes. You said at the apex of the conjunction. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The energy's high today.
For real.
And it's not a coincidence that this is finally happening.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy.
There's no coincidence.
Yeah. So I would love to just kind of briefly, I know like we all talk about our story, but I would love to know how music found you, or how sound, like when you knew that sound was something that was your vehicle.
Great. No, of course. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I was born in Michigan. Mm-hmm. My family is Jamaican. And so every summer I would go down to Jamaica and spend with my grandfather. He played classic piano. He was the only person in my family who does music. None of my parents, just my grandfather. And he would show me little songs on the piano. My mom would try to make me take piano. I wasn't really into music at that time. I was into sports. And then when I was in high school, my friend was a music producer. He brought a CD to school. And living in Detroit, I had never known anything about music as a business, or I had never been in a studio. I thought music was like something made in a spaceship that you see on TV, like the studio with all those buttons. And
Right.
I was like, that wasn't even like a reality thing to me. So when my friend said, hey, I made this CD, I was like, what, you made a CD? And he said, yeah, I made these beats. And I asked him to help me, like, show me that. That's crazy. You can make that. And then I just thought it was fun. And through the internet at the time, it was MySpace. At the time, I put my music.
MySpace.
Yeah, shout out to MySpace. Yeah. Top 8. You remember the Top 8 was crazy.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, I put my music on there, and I was young, really young in high school, and got into the music industry and started producing hip-hop music for all of the top rappers in the industry, people you hear on the radio, like just a lot of people who, you know, at the beginning weren't successful, but you know, as like they grew, and we all grew at the same time, and then we all were just kind of doing it. And so music just, you know, kept being a part of my life as a producer. I was just behind the scenes producing beats, and I was super grateful. It happened to me at a young age. I got into the industry at 17, so I didn't know anything about like any other job. I've never done any like, you know, in high school I did little jobs, worked at the shoe store, all these kind of things. But since I've been an adult, just music. And it's been a blessing because it kind of like you said, it chose me. I didn't even dream that was possible.
Yeah.
I didn't even know anyone who did anything like that. It was just something that I really liked doing. I would produce, and time would just pass by when I was making it. So like we were in that kind of flow state that we were talking about, I guess, looking back, and it was just fun. And then it became something that I was fortunate enough to get paid for. So I was like super grateful. And yeah, I was in college, graduated, and I went to Atlanta, and then just kept doing music, creating behind the scenes for other people. So I started getting in the industry, and it was really great. I was producing for all of these artists who I heard like in the radio and who had all of this success. But then I got really sick, and I was living in Atlanta, and I didn't know what the problem was. And turns out they were like, well, I had leukemia. So I had to go through crazy battle, cancer.
Wow.
And at that moment, I was kind of like thinking more. I always had a vision. I wanted to do something with music, like long term. I wanted to do something like good with my life. I always had a vision. I wanted to do that. But I thought it was because the music was having so much good early success. I thought, this is great. I'm just going to get a bunch of money from this and make like some, you know, organizations to help people and build, you know, schools and build all these different ideas. But then when that came, it kind of shortened my time span of like how far I was thinking. So I just started thinking about, you know, other ways to make impact and like quick.
Yeah.
And I realized that in the music itself had a great power. Luckily, thankfully, like the cancer, everything, like I was able to survive. And so now, like it just kind of actually was a blessing because it helped me like change my perspective a little bit. Yeah. And so I started, you know, just trying to like make changes and stuff through the actual music. Before I was not conscious at all of that. If some of the listeners listen to my old stuff, like forgive me, like, cause if they're gonna hear it, they're gonna be like, yo. But I just was having fun. I had no clue about like the connection and how, you know, what music actually can be. And like, but I think that was part of my path, so that the style of music I make is for people who listen to the stuff I like to listen to. So I think it's all works out, but yeah.
Do you feel like, did you have some sort of kind of spiritual awakening in that, you know, process, that facing death?
Yes. It just made me realize like anything we want to do, we should do it now.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's the only time we have.
Yep.
That's the only time we have anyway. So yeah, it was just a good lesson. It was just a great lesson.
It's really the only lesson.
Right.
You know, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what we're experiencing right now is there's so much fear of death is, you know, we're plagued by fear of death, and it's in every kind of part of our, you know, everything we're conditioned. It's just a lot of fear around it. So I do feel like when we face it in ways like you have, it gives you freedom in a way that nothing else really can.
True. Very, very true. And I understand why it's scary because it's unknown, you know, but I believe that life is eternal, and and what we do and the love we give, all those things keep going on. So it's like I'm just focused on what can I do now at this moment, and I'm grateful that right now we're doing this. So thank you for having me here. This is super cool.
Yeah. So, well, we've had some very deep conversations over the past, couple of years just about what can happen with frequency, and curious. I mean, you were really throwing down some education for me when we were talking about some of this, and I really want to share some. I want you to share some of this. But curious, can you just give a little bit of how you discovered what happens with the different frequencies? And I know you're kind of a scientist. You're like a mad frequency scientist, and just give a little of a understanding of what happens with frequencies to your body, your mind, and all this.
Sure. So when I first said, you know what, I'm going to make the change through the music, I've been blessed to produce a lot for Justin Bieber, one of the most talented people that I've met. And he was doing a show, and he had hundreds of thousands of people at the show. Literally hundreds of thousands. And they were all singing a song that we made at home. So I realized, whoa, okay, the music, I'm going to put messages in the music. So my first try into this world of kind of making the pop music conscious, I tried to do it through positive lyrics, and it flopped. The sales went down.
Right.
I was getting millions. Of sales.
No. They want the drama.
So like it kind of like it was like funny because I was like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. This must be right. And it just, even to me, I couldn't connect to it the same. And I started realizing like the people I was making music for, like the people who wanted to hear that already knew that.
Right.
And they already had a kind of music for that. And then the people who I was making music for weren't necessarily trying to hear that. And I get it, because they weren't listening to music for that. So I started to try to figure out, okay, let me study the sound and the science and the frequency of the music, so that even if I say la la la, dance dance, ha ha, whatever, the actual energy of the sound can be serving the intention and lifting people up. So that was how I started looking into all of the ways that sound affects humans. So that was monks chanting was one of the first things.
Yeah.
And I spoke with a really good friend, of mine, Jay Shetty. He was an ex-monk, and he told me that each chant that they do, each mantra, and you obviously know this from being here, but like, is a unique set of frequency or tone to change their state of consciousness.
Yeah.
So when he told me like, okay, it's not just random, like it's a direct, so that kind of made me be like, wow, there's power in that. And then from a scientific community, I started meeting people who learned about binaural beats, which is like, a more scientific way of changing your brainwave states that they were able to measure. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. These sounds are having effects on people. I started studying every way that sounds had an effect on people. And I met this group called the Resonance Science Foundation. We went to Egypt. We went to Machu Picchu, studying how these ancient civilizations knew about sound and how they used the power of sound. And it was really, really cool experiences. And we learned a lot of cool stuff with that. So my vision has just been to try to bring sound healing into the mainstream.
Yeah. And so what's happened? Like, what have you, since you started dropping these sound kind of patterns that are still encased in a pop music or hip hop, what's happened? What are you noticing?
No, I'm noticing a lot of things. I'm noticing, most importantly, I think I'm noticing messages from people all over the world saying, how it lifted them up. How they felt uplifted, how it changed their energy.
Yeah.
And so, like, even some people who are not aware of what that is or anything that's in it, because my vision is to make it sound like a normal pop song, any song that you would hear on the radio. I don't want it to sound like, I want it to sound like just a song that you maybe don't even know.
Yeah.
That's there. And so for people who normally wouldn't be listening to music with healing frequencies, to be kind of exposed to it is so exciting to me. And there's people from all over the world messaging me and showing me all of these moments they're having with it. So it's really like, I'm just so grateful for the response that people are giving it.
Yeah. It's, I mean, you know, I know how I feel. I'm sensitized to these things. So, you know, I think I'm not a good test subject, but I definitely, I can feel how the reverberation of making music in this way is basic. I mean, this is one of the major kind of foundations of this new era, whether we want to call it the Aquarian Age or, because I think a lot of like in the New Age, it was like, okay, we're going to make this droney mantra music, and like this is the only way to use sound to access infinity, the infinite. But I was really turned off by that, you know, even from a young age, because my brother was Hare Krishna and they were all like chanting and stuff. And I was like, this can't be the only way to create enlightened sounds.
Yeah. It seems so obvious, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you said a great word, enlightened sound. I like that. I think that it's also just introducing intention to the thought of it, to the thought of the sound. Before, like most artists, and I know because I've been in the industry for so long, that like we don't even know what that is. We're not even aware of of what frequency even is, what hertz even is. It's just pre-programmed for us like that. So it's just giving people the opportunity to think about the intention they're putting into it, because you know we will continue to improve on the technology, on our knowledge, on our information. So, you know, the sound healing will continue to get better. But what I'm hoping is just to inspire more people to even put the intention, because just even the intention, it goes into the music. So it's a super exciting time.
It really is. And also you are producing a bunch more now. And I mean, can you talk about all this new music? You're putting not just your own, but a bunch of new artists.
It's cool. I'm producing a lot of artists.
It's amazing. And I also feel like, I mean, you know, part of the fun thing about producing, I think, just in general, is that you kind of, I mean, you're shaping the conduit of the sound anyways. So, I mean, they don't really need to know.
They don't know if it feels good.
I mean, but they do know. That's the other thing, is like, I think like the heart resonance and why they would even be working with you is that they know something is different.
That's a good, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like I'm just excited. I'm just excited. Music, I love music so much, and to be able to do something that also makes me feel like, you know, I'm walking in a purpose is great, because you know, it can be like, for me, even though I was having good success in the industry, it was without a purpose, that stuff, it will never fulfill you. You know,
empty. Yeah.
That stuff will never fulfill you, and a lot of, you know, a lot of people are going on that journey, and I understand it. And, you know, I have a lot of empathy and for people on that journey. But once the more I'm letting go of that, the better it is. So.
Yeah. Will you explain like some of that stuff that you were explaining to me, which I think is just so mind-blowing when you really go there, about just what happened after World War II and there's some stories, conspiracy theories online. Like, I didn't make them up, I just saw them. I'm not sure, but that Music Standardization Act is basically like what created all music. Let me even go back a step. Okay, so today all music, like standard music, is resonating at A equals 440 hertz. And a hertz is the amount of times in 1 second that a wave goes up and down. So in 1 second, if it goes 440 times, it's 440. So all music in modern popular time is standardized in this frequency. And there's some people who are a little suspicious about this frequency, about this, because supposedly one of the people who was involved in the creation of the music standardization was named Joseph Goebbels, and he was into some other stuff. You guys can check him out. Yeah. You guys can check him out. Google it. I'll say it. Yeah. Can I say it?
You can say it. Yeah, you can say it.
He was one of, he was working for, the Hitler kind of Nazi scientists kind of scene. Wasn't he working with a lot of that technology?
Yes.
And that you could say he was a part of this like Project Paperclip, the Nazi scientists that were brought from Germany and kind of hidden in the American government, and also Argentinian government and other.
Right. And because, like from talking to my friends in different, community, science and spiritual, there's no inherent benefit for it to be that frequency.
Right.
So, there's some people who believe that was intentionally put there to discord, make, a little discord and
And dumb us down,
change
basically.
humanity's consciousness, to not give us, that's what some people believe, that is to you kind of not let us unlock a higher frequency, keep us at a certain spot. I can't say, I wasn't there what they did, but I know that there's nothing beneficial about that frequency that they chose. So I just want to unlock the whole thing. Why are we stuck right there?
Yeah.
People don't even know what that is. It's no importance. It's just the standard. A lot of times you buy music equipment, it's pre-programmed in that frequency, almost all. And when you tune a guitar, it tunes to that. That's just the standard, and no one even thinks about it. So,
it's deep. That's some deep stuff.
it's pretty interesting.
You can really wormhole on that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just obvious for me that there's, it's like new colors,
Are you having to get special equipment and stuff?
Some of it doesn't work. Some of it I'm able to just tune all the instruments differently. So if I tune the guitar, I will tune it differently. So that a lot of them are fine, but some of them don't change. So, it's kind of hard to use them.
Interesting. So basically, is that part of the idea? Is that then maybe you also start to make some instruments?
Yes, for sure. We're already making a virtual. We're making a virtual one, with different types of tunings. Yeah, it's really cool because I want everyone to try this and just use it, and be able to. I also started adding the frequencies in just the simple version. The frequency to the end of my song title. So I hope one day that's a standard, where you will know what frequency you're listening to. So I'm putting that on all of my songs, from now. It's just going to say what the song is, what's the frequency.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that project, that other project yet? Not yet.
All right. Our Alien project.
No, the project of using that kind of standard to index music.
Yeah, well, no, we're gonna take that. Yeah, nah, I'm not. It's under wraps. Yeah, it's under wraps.
Okay.
It's under wraps. That one's coming along great. Yeah.
Well, what? So you're. We were just talking before the interview. I mean, you've been really prolific this year, and I'm just curious. Was that intentional, or did something activate for you personally when you started to release this music?
I felt really inspired. Like I said, when working with purpose. So whatever it is that you find is your purpose, when you're working in that, you feel just a boost of energy, a different kind of energy. And I also removed some of the roadblocks for me, like business-wise, because I had to navigate the music industry, and I had a lot of kind of things that were preventing me from just being expressive and creative, and I was able to remove all of that. So I'm in a really grateful to be in a spot now to just consistently be creating, and that's when I'm happiest.
Yeah. I think there really is two choices. I don't think there's a lot. I think it's like you're either being creative or you're sliding into some sort of destructiveness, even if it's just stagnancy. Even if it's not just active destructiveness. I really feel that.
Yes.
Especially now.
Absolutely. And I believe that we're all vessels, and if we don't let it flow through us, it gets blocked and we get anxious, or when we're letting it flow, whatever that is that we do, we just feel better. Whatever that is that puts us in flow. When you're doing that, you just feel better.
Yeah. What's your, how do you kind of, when you're creating, do you hear it first? Do you see it? How do things come?
The best ones are downloads. The best ones are and this is why I definitely have to remain very humble about the process, because I'm not consciously writing. It's almost like I'm hearing a transmission. So I'm hearing it playing in some other place, and then I say it in this world, or I play it, and people are like, whoa, I like that. But I'm not consciously thinking of it.
Yeah.
It's really quite an awesome experience. It's just a gift when I really am honest about it. My best ones have come. I just heard it, and I was able to kind of take that and put it into something that people can hear. So the best ones are always downloaded for me.
That's interesting because I feel just that when you are translucent enough or listening enough, you're plucking these sounds out of, I mean, you could call it off planet, you could call it the ethers, you could call it another dimension, but I mean that's really what's going on.
Yeah, I do believe that. I believe that we just kind of translate things from other dimensions into this one. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know, it's so
It's
crazy. Is that the same with the words for you? Like, is it music first, then words, or does it sometimes happen the other way?
It's always music first for me,
Okay.
music and rhythm. But there is times, it happens a lot actually, where I'm in a conversation with someone and I'm like, oh wow, that's a song right there. Like that's like something that they said.
Yeah.
So that does happen as well, and then I usually would try to find some music that matches that kind of energy. But I always hear the music first, always, for sure.
Would you, when you write the words, like, do you feel it's like more functional? You're writing words to the music, or is there kind of a poetic experience?
That's a good question. When I'm writing the words, I try to turn off the function part and try to just hear what is the melody trying to say. Mm-hmm. Like that's when I find the clearest words for the song. Yeah. And I just try to listen to, like, sometimes I'll say just da 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 da, like, and it won't be any words. And then I'll listen to it and say, da, 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 what am I gonna do? And it kind of start to hear what is that melody saying, So I just try to let it answer itself, and it usually will like kind of tell me. And then if I can't, sometimes I get stuck and I can't figure out what is it trying to say. And then at that moment, I have like great, awesome partners who I can pass it to and say, hey, like, what do you think this is saying? And sometimes they'll hear something. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds like that.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It's good. It's so great to have people that you can collaborate with.
It's so great. And to be able to create music especially is so cool, because you go, for me it's so cool, you go in with nothing.
Yeah.
And you come out with, it's like something that can like change people's whole mood.
Yeah.
And people are like dancing, or people are sad, whatever it is from the song. So it's like, it's really like a magical experience for me. Crazy.
It's alchemy. I mean, it's the definition of alchemy.
Wow. Is that the same experience you feel like when you're in your zone?
Yeah. I feel like that you're bringing something, you're making something out of nothing, or everything out of nothing. And I mean, that to me is the most interesting process. Like, it's one thing to have a lot of things and try to make out of it something beautiful. Like, there's something about that too that's a different process. But like the whole kind of, I think even the process of meditation is creating something out of nothing. Like, you're going into nothingness, and then that's where all creation is, and vice versa.
Wow, that's so true. When do you feel most in the flow?
I mean, I can say this honestly now, and I'm not sure like when it happened, but I feel like I'm almost always in the flow. Ooh. Meaning, like, I there's not a time when I'm not feeling creative. I mean, I feel tired, and I feel like was maybe frustrated sometimes when it's like everything's that day or whatever, that everything doesn't. But even then, if I sat down right then, I would be able to create something out of nothing.
I love that. Yes, because there's so much to create.
There's
right?
so much to create.
It's almost like time is the only obstacle, and as time is an illusion. But in this 3D era, it's like, that's why we got to just go crazy. Like, just go in, really pour yourself into it. I saw this quote that someone says, don't die with your music inside of you. Whatever that is that anyone likes to create, like, do it. Like, go crazy with it. And enjoy it, because it's so fulfilling, and you look at the stuff you created, you're like, wow, that's cool. Like, we were talking, I saw one of her videos from years ago randomly pop up on my YouTube, because It was something like similar to what I was watching. And it was so cool, something that she put the energy of, it was probably 3-4 years ago, and did that just now. That wave hit me. And, you know, you never know what we're creating now, when it will hit someone, you know. It might be a long time. Someone might not even be like, it might be an artist painting something, they might not even like it. And then, you know, you become Picasso, you know, and now everyone's like, wants your paintings. And it's like,
there's a story of Yogi Bhajan used to paint, and like all the adults thought it was like, okay, you know, like don't quit your day job. And then like a bunch of 6-year-olds came in and saw one of his paintings and were like, whoa, like they were like tripping on the painting. And I just think that's like such a good example of like, you have no idea.
You have no idea. So my latest song became successful in France. It's not even in French. It's English and Spanish. I have no reason why, no clue why. But you put it, you know, you do your things, and somehow it connects with the people it's supposed to connect with. In his case, it was the kids, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like, I mean, how do you maneuver when something, I know that like you get stronger as you go, but how do you maneuver when you create something, you think it's so great, and maybe it doesn't have the kind of legs that you thought it would?
That's, the only way I can get over that is create something new.
Exactly. It's the only way. It's the only way.
It's the only way I can get over it. Because it's disappointing, especially if you put a lot of energy into something. Yeah. And then, but then I also remember too. Like the book The Alchemist. That book came out first already. Exact words, and it sold like 10 copies. So much so that they called Paulo Coelho, the writer, his publisher, dropped him off his contract from he just believed in it, and he got a new publisher, and something else worked out, and this thing worked out, and now it's sold hundreds of millions of copies. So like when I hear stories like that, and I remember, sometimes it just takes time for things to really get there, you know, to really hit. So it's like I remember that too. If I really did it from a place of pure artistic intention, sometimes it takes years for people to even understand it, you know. Some stuff I have now that's trending in TikTok was made way before TikTok was even out. 7 years ago. They hearing it like it's new, but at the time I would have thought, oh, maybe this didn't do anything, and now years later it's coming. So
is it affecting the sales of the song?
Way affecting the sales.
Amazing.
Up.
Amazing.
Crazy. From a song from years ago.
Is there a dance?
Yes, there's a dance. And the most popular TikTokers did it. 3 of them did it, and then the sales went up. The streams now they call it. They don't even call it sales. Streams. The streams went up millions.
The streams went up.
Millions.
Isn't it just so? I mean, that's what I do think. It's like if you get the momentum of creativity and the artistic momentum, it does. There's just that velocity creates something that I think makes you much more kind of invincible when it comes to everyone's opinions and the critique and this and then that. I mean, it really does. It gives you like a shield almost.
It does. Because you can always make more, and you can always make something. Hopefully, as we are working on our crafts, we're improving and we're getting better and we're learning, you know, from what we did, and so the next one is even better.
Yeah.
You know, and the next thing is even more. Like we continually to evolve. So no matter what is happening, if you continue to go forward, something good's gonna come. I know that something good's gonna come.
Yeah.
Especially if it's pure what you're doing, you know.
And do you? I know, you know, you use kind of meditation and contemplative whatever. You know, meditation can be many different things. Do you intentionally use it before you go to create? Or is it just kind of a part of how you live your life?
It's more of a part of my daily routine. Yeah. I've noticed that it's being mindful has helped me even in music, because like there will be times where I'll be creating before, and still sometimes, but where I'm like playing something or, you know, singing something, and I'm not completely present. And I noticed that, you know, when I'm completely present is when it's the strongest. So the mindfulness for me is helping even in music, is just strengthening that that focus.
Do you feel like it helps you perform?
Well, I haven't been able to perform yet, like in 2020.
We need some like bedroom performances.
I know. I
from
should
you.
do something
no,
cool.
No, you really should, because our girl Erica is like, she is prolific in her bedroom.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I should do something. I should definitely do something. I've been just in the studio so much. I'm planning for the shows, but no, I haven't got a chance.
It would be
I'm
fun.
sure it will help my performance.
But even before, I mean, you were performing, not too long ago.
Before, but I feel like my mindfulness has stepped up so much, in just even in the time of quarantine. This whole year. Yeah. I've just I feel like I've really started to understand about being an artist and coming, just being true to my creation and unapologetic about that, and hopefully we continue to keep growing and learning.
I think you need some like really hot like bedroom concerts.
Okay. Listen, I mean, hey,
she doesn't really do it in her bedroom. She does it like I think in her studio in her house. But the thing's been hilarious. I haven't seen recently, but in the beginning of quarantine, she was doing like once a month or whatever.
I know. I need to do it.
Yeah.
I should do something for sure.
It would be fun, and I think people would love it, especially because there's been so much music. It would be cool to watch you perform.
That's true. We are working on a virtual performance. Yes, that's true. It's not in the bedroom, no, but it's like
wherever.
We created this thing called the Frequency Experience. It's going to be really cool, but I haven't got a chance to film it yet. So hopefully in the next couple months we'll be filming it.
And, you have kind of a whole empire happening, and you're, into fashion, and we love our fashion. Hey. Are you designing everything? Like, how do you do all of the merch and the fashion, which is amazing and super cool?
Thank you. That was, I had the ideas, and I partnered with this guy, his name is Mark. He's from this incredible fashion company called The Incorporated. He makes awesome stuff, and I actually was going to talk to you about trying to get some collabs going, because I like your stuff that you've been making. That's actually really cool.
Thank you.
I copied a little bit of your sweat style, but like I'm just kind of
it's hot. I really love it.
Put my own twist, and then just added some little things. But I'm gonna consistently. So the way that my music is gonna be is like Volume 1 Frequency is released. I'm gonna release Volume 1.1, which is like an update to that, and then and there's 3 projects: Volume 1 Frequency, Volume 2 Energy, and Volume 3 Vibration. So and each update has a new merch line, clothing with it, so we should definitely collab for one of them for sure.
I would love to.
Something crazy.
Really crazy.
Something crazy.
Because I think that part of what has to happen too is that there's new energy that people have to put on their bodies. Like I really do. I feel that that's part of the clothing is a vibration. I mean, it changes your aura. That's the whole game.
And I've been like all white mostly. Like I taken a page from Kundalini.
Yeah.
You guys.
I love your
really
whites. I love it. Yeah.
I should have came with it.
Yeah. No, but you have to have your riff of the.
There we go. There we go.
So okay, well that's and then are you working virtually with the?
Can I go back to that? Can I ask you why is that in Kundalini that you guys are wearing white?
It does do something to the aura. It basically expands the aura, and other colors do different things. Like I was telling you, I just interviewed David Icke, and I wore kind of like a dark dress in that interview, and I was kind of looking at it. It was like an interesting, different vibe, because other colors do different things, but white, and it is addictive, as you have experienced.
Yes.
Because it expands you, and you do feel it if you're sensitive enough. And so, that's the reason. But then I think like other colors, it's color therapy. It shifts the colors have frequency.
I agree.
They do. So that's kind of why we wear the whites. But also, I think that certain things affect the clarity of the mind, and some people notice it more than others. So some people notice, okay, when I meditate in white, which isn't necessarily true for me. I mean, I can meditate in any color, but when I meditate in white, I do feel like there's a kind of a more expansion in the energy bodies, but not everybody. That's not for everybody, but for some people. And so that's part of the reason. But then you get like the monks wear that dark red, which also does something. Like there's a reason for that color. It's not just kind of random.
Yeah. It's true. It looks super cool. I love how, so everything, I've learned that everything is a frequency. There's a visual spectrum, which is the range of frequencies that our eyes can see, which is a certain, there's the audible, which is 30 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Anything in that range, the human ear can hear. The dog might have like 25,000 or something, the dog, because humans are 20, the dog hears something higher. That's why they can hear those whistles. Right. So most of what we experience is in such a thin band of the frequency of everything that exists. So we don't see most of what is actually there. Think of like a cell phone wave. You can't see it, but obviously it's there if we pick up our phone. A radio wave, Wi-Fi, all of these signals are all here. So there's so much more than what our senses can even perceive is happening. We see like less than 1% of what's actually going on. Yeah. Which is pretty cool when you think about it, and pretty crazy, and also lets us know that there's a lot more going on.
And also, I mean, just in the yogic science, the whole frequency kind of games is, can you train yourself to pick up on these extrasensory vibrations so that you can have an increased intuition or an increased sensory experience or an increased clarity or whatever. And I know you'll love this. They talk about this hammers in the inner ear and how the hammers, these hammers in the inner ear basically are connected to the pineal gland secretions, the pituitary gland secretions, and just how the whole brain, the neuroendocrine kind of cascade.
Wow, that's cool. That makes sense, because there'll be sometimes I'll hear a sound and immediately get a sensation in a part of my body, like boom, boom. Yeah. So there's definitely a connection for that. Wow, that's cool. I think that I'm grateful to keep learning too, more science about that and just applying it to the music. Anything that's beneficial for us, just keep applying it so the music will continue to evolve and get better and better and more specific. You'll be able to hear very specific things for what we want to do with the music.
Do you dream? Do you dream melodies?
No, I don't. I haven't heard a song in a dream, only maybe once or twice. Okay. I've only heard a song in a dream. Okay. Yeah. That's crazy.
I know.
Do you dream songs? Do you hear songs?
I'm not, the dream space is one, like, unless I'm not up at my usual time meditating.
You're not a dreamer.
I don't dream that much because of the, but I do have visions and I do have visitations, but they're a little bit different than dreams.
Wow. Dreams, visitations. Okay. Yeah. What's the difference of those?
Well, I think that there's like lucid dreaming. In the shamanistic stuff, they would call it lucid dreaming, which it's much more of like an astral projection. And I'm just curious, because I think like I'm so fascinated by the artistic process because it really is a process of enlightenment.
Wow. It's really to be able to, I was thinking about it and talking with some friends, to be able to sell something invisible. It's really like a magic in a sense, like the music, we never can hold it. Yeah. We never can hold it and give it to you, but it's just a collection of frequencies designed by that person that has a key to change someone else's emotion and their state. Which is really, when you think of it as an artist, it makes you want to kind of feel a responsibility, like, wow, I should actually use this. And it doesn't always need to make people feel happy, but I just be mindful of what you're giving, Yeah. And sometimes we all you need to feel sad or we want to cry, So it's not saying that it needs to be that, but just to be mindful and do it with love. Do it with love.
Right.
Then it all works out.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, it's so fun to talk with you about this stuff and just get inside your head a little bit, because I'm going to say this for you. Not that I think you would say it, but I think that you are spearheading the beginning of a new genre, whether, in a way that is very subtle and inside the kind of the structure of the, what is pop music and what's being currently kind of consumed. And it's a very important mission.
Thank you so much. Thank you for helping also to inspire me along the way. I remember you brought me up here and played the gong, and we talked about the powers of that. So you've definitely been a big part of the process, and I'm just grateful for everyone who has helped me from the science community and the spiritual communities. Have been my two real backbone and support, and going now into the mainstream community. So thank you, and thank you for having me here.
My sincere pleasure. Thank you, Maejor. And listen to all of Maejor's new music. It's really mind-blowing, and I know that you're going to continue. What's the next thing you're dropping?
The next project is Frequency 1.1. Okay. So it'll be an updated frequency, and then I'm continuously check out on my social media. I'm going to continuously dropping music and showing the frequency of each song, so you'll be able to classify it by frequency.
Your social media is really beautiful.
Thank you.
It's very intentional and so artistic.
Thank you. Thank you. I heard this idea, make your life a work of art.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Satnam. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Reality Riffing. These are conversations that I think are important with people who are doing great things in the world about subject matters that need to be discussed. If you enjoyed the content, the conversation, please feel free to share with your people, share with your friends and family, rate the podcast below, and also subscribe. This is the divine feminine, that term, which of course every time I hear it, I slightly cringe because it's overused. So this is my kind of punk rock version of what I think that is, which is it's a multi-dimensional femme consciousness that's moving through planet Earth and all of its inhabitants. And if we so choose, it will awaken us to the next vibrational frequency. My favorite thing is to actually work with someone who wants to change, and they actually do the work, and then they actually reap the benefits.